Daniela Corda. I have more a comment than a question. While I was seeing the slides, I noticed the Ministry of Gender and whatever, and in Italy we have Ministry of Family, Ministry of Education, education and school. So what we didn't discuss at all this aspect, that when women make it, often they made it to a woman job, right? What are perceived as, you know, if they have to be here, they better do something that is more female related, which I think it's another added problem, problem to be added to the list. Because I don't see why one of our colleagues wouldn't be much better than me, for example, in taking care of the family problem or gender problem. I think this is something we have to keep in mind as well, that the opportunity should be also in the topic, not only in the level of career. But you might comment on it.
I was just going to say that at least in Korea they have a female president, so it might be.
Yeah. Sorry. This, yeah, we used to have one or two more female minister level position, but we sometimes we have two, but not more.
But, no, I want to apologize. Colleague from Korea. I didn't mean Korea. I mean Italy is the same, France is the same. I mean the world is the same. Okay.
Kind of lowest level top government leaders amongst all the world.
Hans Borchgrevink, Norway. I think it's impressive how the Gender Summit spreads to all across the world. I mean, and I think there must be some, well, 3 or 4 main conclusions from this summit, and one of them I think should pinpoint that involving the whole world is important for mobility and internationalization of research and the harmonization of terms that you find in research positions, for instance. So this is a really important internationalization issue that indeed should be highlighted.
Thank you, Simone.
Yeah, basically, I want to add to Hans' comments. Incredible what you guys are doing, and I think it's unbelievably impressive and really exciting that the whole idea of more gender balance in academia, including in the content of research, is spreading. And it's very timely too, because it seems like many of the research topics nowadays are becoming more global. We have global challenges, we're all aware of them, but it seems like also universities and research councils are working together more. In my talk in about half an hour that I'm giving together with Landa Schiebinger, I'm going to say something about a global network of research-intensive universities that's now being built, that LIRU is part of, the network that Leiden University, my university, is part of. And of course, there's also a global network now of research councils, of research funders. So I'm wondering, since we're having global gender summits and this whole movement is also becoming global, whether we can't continue just thinking big and whether we can't somehow link to those other global movements. Because the topic is definitely worthy of that.
I was jokingly said, you're talking my language now, Simone. I could not agree with you more. And also with Hans's point, the criticality of the global movement is looking at uniquenesses and similarities across the world, because it would be very important to see how the same investigation of diseases vary or have similarities in different parts of the world. It also would be important to include in the list of diseases, if you will, now this is the health lens, but unique diseases or higher proportionality in some populations, like sickle cell or HIV/AIDS, hypertension, those kinds of things, and looking at it at a broader level, both aggregated and disaggregated, becomes extremely important. I am reluctant, especially after seeing Paul Boyle's presentation this morning. Some of us were talking yesterday, and I said, well, we've got the Global Research Council, and we've got the forthcoming Global Learning Council, and I wonder what would be a global diversity and inclusion forum that would take into account all of these populations that are critical to the health of the scientific enterprise. Did you have a comment?
Well, you will notice that in the program later on, there is a session, consultation session that we called Alliance, Forming an Alliance. Well, please come, and we need to put those ideas right under that kind of a consultation.
I'd like to add one further point for your consideration with regard to the title of Quality Research and Innovation through Equality, right? Yeah. I understand that Gender Summit has focused on identifying gender bias in science and technology and integrating gendered innovations method into basic and applied research, thereby promoting excellence in science and technology and also market opportunities. I have the impression that the theme of quality research and innovation through equality summarizes the spirit and ethos of the inspiring and timely practice. It seems that we have kind of blue ocean in the field of biological science in terms of gendered innovations. That being said, I think for the sustainable and prosperous future of Gender Summit at the global level, toward expanding and extending in terms of region and field, I would like to suggest that terminology or definition of innovation should be more broadened and elaborated so that we can address the challenges women faced in everyday life, in the livelihood, depending on the region or nation state. So as for the emerging economies, I think the latter part of deployment business of the research and development outcome should be strengthened to realize the socio-economic expectations and purpose of the research and development activities, such as promoting the deployment, the implementation of the so-called appropriate technologies in the developing countries. So my point is that why don't we consider to expand the broad sense of innovation into more specific innovation depending on the situation. I wish we could find some ways to share our findings with our male colleagues in more proactive manner. In that way, we can maximize our efforts to improve our society in terms of gendered innovations. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Question over there?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Katie Didion from the U.S. National Academies, and I just want to build on that. I think the idea of innovation and think of scientific and technology creation. For instance, in the U.S., we've had recently revealed that Google and many of the companies, their representation of women on the technical staff is around 13 to 17%. And it took a lot of time and energy to get them to reveal that data. And my guess is that we need to be thinking of women as not only users, but as creators of technology. And maybe particularly for the summit in Korea, it'd be very interesting to think about how we engage some of those communities that are into the manufacturing of innovation that hits us every day. And just a small example, I shared with a few colleagues today that within the U.S. National Academies and all of our committees, you can search by committee function and see who represents the committee. And my Committee on Women did that. And when you looked at committees on gender or women were always the chair and they were on the committee membership. But when we did a search on innovation, there were over 80 committees and women were much less represented. And we looked on leadership, women did not chair one committee and they were not on many of the committees. So I think it's figuring out how we can bring these together in a way that really engages beyond those who've been working on this so hard in the room. Thank you.
There was a question over there.
Thank you. Charlie Wu from Taiwan. I'm a chemistry professor. I want to echo to Professor Lee's talk. We are very envy of what Korean women got your support from your government. But we do have a project working on gender mainstreaming. We've been doing gender impact analysis, gender impact assessment for all science projects since 2009. We are also doing gender analysis on research in science and technology. In any case, I think we are very happy to know the next regional gender summit will be held in Korea, and we would like to be very much part of the conference. We'd like to be your international partner. Thank you very much.
Do you want to respond?
I should thank Charlie Wu first because I met Professor Londas and heard her talk during the conference you organized, which I meant to mention, but I forgot because I was in such a hurry. And also, I think one of the reasons is that we have this act legislated in 2002, and because of this act, there are many things that we can do. For example, and also the Korean society moves very fast. I think that's another thing. We studied this gendered innovations or gender dimensions in research last November, and Professor Peck already has some result. And also for this Gendered Innovation Forum, which we inaugurated in June 17th, we had many science leaders who are, two of them are science and technology former ministers who are very supportive, and also the chair of the National Science and Technology Council, he was there and he was very supportive too. And also the president of National Research Foundation promised to propose in depth gender analysis on future research support policies, which Lunda yesterday introduced. Although it may be a little late, but the gender-related policies for Horizon 2020 is already introduced in Korea, and we are expected to that policy is adopted in Korea pretty soon. So I don't know why, but we seem to move very fast. And that's something, when the new concepts and ideas coming along, then, yeah.
That was so encouraging to see when I went to Korea, this thing, you know, once they see the evidence, they feel, yes, we must do something, and they do it.
Okay, I am Miyoko Watanabe from Japan. There are so many women-related symposium, conference, and meetings, and they are a little bit scattered. But I attended this meeting for the first time, and I think this gender summit is quite different because this is connected to the society. That is quite important. So I hope this gender summit in the world would be very fruitful to change the society. I am proud of being able to co-organize next gender summit in Asia with Korean very wonderful friends. Thank you very much.
Well, I think on this very positive note, we should close and continue maybe the conversation in another location. We are giving